That's a crazy question.
That
Is
was my
that it?
next one.
Okay, I was gonna say. Honestly, low key, and this might be a totally out of pocket answer, and everyone might fight me on this, but probably not also.
This is so narcissistic of me because I'm about to quote myself.
I'll tell you right now because I've never spoken about this.
Welcome to Unshut, a place where if at any point you feel like you need to shut the up, don't.
Oh, we're here.
Hi, Nicolina. How are you?
I'm so good. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Lovely.
I'm digging all the bags in the bag.
Yeah, it's my little purse store. And there's
I,
some like
l-
little belts, like little honorable mentions right there.
I love it. Are you a big
Thank
bag
you.
collector?
I'm just a fashion person in general. I just love collecting shoes, bags, accessories.
I love it. Do you do any of like the bigger types of bags, like totes and things like
Oh
that, or
yeah.
just small? All?
I have all of the above. All of the above I have.
I love that. I just recently started obsessing over Chanel has this like Sherpa style
Oh my God, yeah.
bag. I'm obsessed.
No. I just love I love a good bag. I love keeping up with the trends if I can and like it's an addiction for sure, but it's fine. It's okay.
I'll have to send you pictures of my closet so you can see you're not the only one.
No, please, please do. Please do. Make me feel not alone in this world.
I love that. Well, I'm super excited to talk with you. I've been so anxious to do this with you because I want listeners to get to know you from my angle, to get to know you a little bit more. So thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
And by us, I
Looking
meant just me and my multi personalities because there's no one else in the room. It's just me.
No, me too. Me too. Don't worry. That's fine.
Are you a Gemini by any chance?
I am.
Shut up, really?
Yeah, I'm a May Gemini.
Oh my gosh, two bipolars in the pod today. I love it.
Horrible. We got a lot of personalities floating around today. It's good.
I love it. Well, we'll see which ones we can get out of you today. I'm super excited. Are you currently in Toronto? Is this your home in Toronto?
Yeah, so I actually live in Vaughan, so like right beside Canada's Wonderland, which is always lovely in the summer. But yeah, I've lived here pretty much most of my life and grew up here, so it's lovely.
Okay, by summer, what do you mean? Like, how hot is it over there?
Well, it's not like we don't get like sweltering heat. We'll get a couple days that are like pretty hot, but Canada's Wonderland is like a huge amusement park that I live next to. It's great. Like it's open in the summer. Like there's huge rides and everything. So it's the best thing, like to be literally 15 minutes away from it. It's
I
the
love
best.
that. Are you
Yeah.
excited for chiller weather or are you a summer gal?
No, I definitely love summer. I love summer for the tan. I love summer for like the vibe, the beach vibe, but I'm a fall girl through and through, like autumn 100%. That's my favorite season.
Me too. I tell everyone it's where my gayness comes out the most because I'm so
I
gaudy
love
in the
it.
winter.
I love it. I love that for you. No, that's the way to be. I love it.
So that amusement park, real quick, just because I'm now curious, what would you
Yeah.
compare it to? Disney or Six Flags? Like for the ones listening that don't know about it.
Probably closer to a Six Flags, but there's also like themed like there's like Snoopy, like Charlie Brown.
Yes.
Yeah, there's like Snoopyville in there. So there's also like the characters and stuff, but like based on the rides, definitely probably closer to a Six Flags.
Oh, I love it. You've obviously been to California, but have you ever heard of Knott's Berry Farm?
I've heard of it, but I've never been.
And I hope I am not wrong by saying this on record, but I'm pretty sure Knott's Berry Farm, they also do like the Snoopy theme. But if I'm wrong, then we'll cut it out.
It's okay, but we'll Google it after. We'll fact check it. But yeah, I love that. That's so cute.
Are you a big adrenaline junkie?
You know what? Not really. Like I love a good amusement park day, but I can't stand rides. Like I'm scared of heights, so roller coasters are my enemy. But I have two younger sisters who absolutely are adrenaline junkies, so I live vicariously through them.
I love that. Yeah, no, same. I am so afraid of heights. My hands, just even mentioning this with you, they're getting sweaty. So I'm like,
No,
fuck
I
this.
know, me too. I can't do it. Like there's a ride at this amusement park that I think it's like one of the biggest roller coasters like in North America kind of thing. I will not. I won't even go near it. I won't step in that region of the park. I just can't do it.
You and me both. We can watch our siblings go and do the dangerous shit.
Perfect. I love it. I love that.
Since we're already on the topic about siblings, I want to talk about your past just a little bit, specifically for
Yeah.
listeners to kind of get to know a little bit more of your journey, right? So I wanted to ask you, do you remember, or how far back can you remember your first musical experience? What was your awakening to falling in love with music?
Yeah. Well, I think as like a very small child and like a toddler, I was always like singing and tapping things, and it definitely stemmed from there. I think I've always just had a love for it. But when it comes to, I guess, like my awakening and like my first big experience with it, I think I was about 6 or 7, and I would have been in first grade. And we'd read this like stupid little book in class about a rainbow. And I was like, oh, I love rainbows. And I know a song about a rainbow that my nonna taught me like way back. Like me and my nonna are super close, and we've always been like, we've always sang when I grew up and everything. And that was part of it as well. So she taught me the song about a rainbow. And I was like, oh, we just read a book about a rainbow. So let me sing this song for my class. So at the ripe age of 6 or 7 years old, I decided to perform for my class, and my teacher like started crying, and I was like, "Oh," I was like, "I guess I struck a nerve here or whatever." And then that kind of turned into me singing in front of the whole school. Like that same year. So I was just a little child singing in front of like 700 kids, which was so crazy. But I kind of just fell in love with the feeling of being on stage and like being under the lights and like hearing the music. That was just like, it was like a drug to me, basically, and still is to this day.
Well, and what a beautiful way to honor you said you call her Nana, right?
Yeah, my nonna, yeah, Italian.
Oh, I
An
love
Italian
it.
background, yeah. Yeah.
That is so amazing. What a beautiful way to honor her. And I feel like bringing up those types of memories is what makes doing something like this so special because I know one of my biggest goals with starting this podcast and wanting to have musical guests was to basically for people to get to know the artist beyond the artistry. You know, I want people to fall in love with the fact that they can relate to your clear rainbow obsession when you were 6 years old and to
Yeah,
be like, I'm
right.
gonna go stream her shit because of that. So I
And
love
I love
that.
that. I think that's amazing too, that you're just doing that with your like your podcast and what you enjoy, and it's your artistry, it's your journey, and I love hearing that. That's
Well,
amazing.
thank you. I'm truly having the best time of my life. And I mean, definitely not to brag, but I mean, it's one of the reasons why I am surpassing so many newer podcasts and I'm still under a year. And it's truly just a
Yeah,
huge testament to anyone that wants to jump into the unknown. Just have fun with it, enjoy it. Why not? It's what we're meant to be doing anyway, you know? So.
100%. Yeah, I hear you 100%.
So now that we've talked a little bit about that, I have another question for you. I mean, as far as like going back to like the time frame of singing this rainbow song to your classmates, right? Do you
Yeah.
remember who was the first person to validate your voice? Who was the first person that you can remember that was like, whoa, hold on. I know you're a kid singing, but I
Mhm.
think we have something here.
Honestly, that was my dad, 100%. Like he was the first person that kind of was like, there's something here, and there's like maybe this is something that I'm gonna like follow and do for the rest of my life kind of thing. And from the second he kind of realized that this was more than just like a passion, it was kind of more like a purpose of mine in a way, he pushed me so hard just to work on my voice and work on my performing and being confident and all of that. So I really do owe like a huge chunk of where I am today to him, just because of how hard he pushed me to work, and like, told me like don't give up on your dreams and keep working and keep doing it and do you no matter what anyone says. So, yeah.
I love that. Do you remember believing him back then, or did it take you a while to get there for you to be like, you know what? He's not just being my dad. I'm starting to believe what he sees.
Yeah, I honestly, it took me a while. Like, I've always been a very confident person, but I think because of how deeply I care about my craft and like my art, it was very easy for me to be like, oh, like he's just saying that because he's my dad and he loves me and whatever. But I think the moment that I actually believed that I could like be something in this music industry and do something with my voice was when I hopped on social media. I think that was the biggest thing, because of course, there's like the trolls and everything, but 90% of the comments I was getting were just like, oh my God, keep singing, or oh my God, your voice is beautiful, or oh, this like really touched me in this way. And I think that was the biggest thing, was hearing strangers from literally all over the world have the exact same feelings and thoughts that my dad did. So it was kind of, again, just pushed me in a different way to keep moving and keep creating.
It's almost like it took you back to that voice you heard when you were little. That is so sweet. I love
Yeah,
that. I
it was
love
amazing.
that. You mentioned having siblings or having two younger sisters. Are they artistically inclined as well? What do they do?
Yeah, so they're actually so into music as well. We're all about like 2 and a bit years apart from each other, so like down the line. So we're all evenly split, which is really nice. But we all went to like the same high school program for like vocal, like in singing and stuff. And they've always been into, music theater and Disney movies, and we all sang together growing up and we put on little shows. So they're definitely like feel music in their own way, and it's super cool to watch them also kind of, do that if they love it and pursue something and like have a drive for something. It's one of the best things to see as an older sister.
Have you guys ever considered doing any collabs collabs together or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, we used to all the time on like TikTok and stuff, just before I guess I started taking music like seriously and like really kind of crafting a career out of it. And yeah, we would sing like little covers and harmonies and just kind of put stuff together, but it never really went beyond that, which I'm not sure why because they're both amazing. They both very well could make it big in what they want to do with music.
When you guys were younger, did you guys ever come up with like a trio name or anything like that?
Honestly, no, we never got to like making a name for it. It was always just like, oh, we're gonna sing and like, oh, we're gonna do this. And it was always just like a cutesy little thing we did. But I'll have to talk to them after about putting a band together because it sounds like a valid thing to do at this point.
Well, I mean, I've talked to some artists who like they'll say that like their siblings will do like back vocals for them or they'll do like the humming in a background. And so I always find that to be so adorable because it's just another way to share your craft and stay connected to the people that have supported you when you needed it the most, when you were not feeling good about what it was that you were doing. So I think it's the sweetest thing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's the best. It's special that we get to bond over that because I feel like if there's a common interest that we are all very passionate about, it's just the best way for us to come together and just be in space and create and like positive vibes. It's all great. I love it.
Same. Are your guys' musical taste the same? Are they similar?
So me and my youngest sister are a copy and paste of each other. We listen to the same music, we sound the same, like it's crazy. And then my middle sister is very she sings a lot of music theater and like classical stuff, which I can't do very well, so I'm kind of jealous of her for that. But she has that on lock, and then me and my youngest sister kind of do like the pop alternative singer-songwriter vibe. Yeah.
I love that. Well, hopefully one day in the future we'll hear a collab or, maybe they'll lay some tracks with you. And I think
Oh
it would be
yeah,
the
for
coolest
sure.
thing.
I'd love that. That would be awesome.
Totally obsessed with your latest single, by the way.
Thank
Like,
you.
stupidly obsessed. And before we deep dive into this single, I want to share my story on how I found it. It's
Please.
it's definitely nothing so special, so don't get too excited. I don't want
No,
to
no, no, but
underwhelm you.
I love a good backstory. I love a good backstory.
So it was like maybe 1 o'clock in the morning. I cannot fall asleep. And so I'm doing, the whole scrolling on TikTok, going back and forth between TikTok and Instagram. And someone that I follow, and this part I wish I could remember, but I don't remember, but someone that I follow posted a clip of you performing your latest song live. And I remember immediately stopping and I'm like, I don't give a fuck who this artist is. I'm writing right now. Like I was
Oh,
so
I love it.
shook. So I actually remember putting in my notes, I was just like, this artist just fucked me up. Like I have to find this person right
Oh my
now.
God.
And so that was my story into finding you. And then all of a
Oh,
sudden I'm on your Spotify channel and I'm crying to glitter and pretty. And I'm like,
oh,
oh my gosh. So
well,
so that's
thank
that's my
you.
story.
Oh my God, I love a good lore. I love a good backstory. Thank you. No, I love that. That's amazing. I'm glad you found us. I'm glad we found each other. This is great.
Absolutely. Well, you definitely shook me, just like I know you're shaking a lot of people. So I'm super excited about that. I noticed that you have a lot of, or not a lot of, but I've noticed that you do a lot of acoustic versions of your songs. Any chance we'll ever get an acoustic version to Situations?
Maybe I've performed it a handful of times with just like guitar or just keys, and it's definitely a super like it's a different vibe because the original's so like big production and like diva vocals and all the things. But I mean, there might be a chance that we get an acoustic version soon. Like maybe it's just a cutesy little social media post. I don't know. Maybe. We'll find out.
I love the maybe because that is something that just totally had me in awe about you was the fact that you could take a song, which by the way, and seriously, I hope no one ever comes for me for this, but I had no idea that Glitter was not your original song.
Oh my
And
God, yeah.
and so I'm like, you really do know how to take a song and make it your own. You're almost like a mermaid. I feel like I was just so lost in your voice that
Ew.
it didn't matter if this song had existed for 100 years. And so this really prompted me to ask you, like, doing different versions of your song. I know you could make them sound so different. So I'm excited.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah, I love putting a twist on like songs and just kind of making them my own as well. And I think that was another thing I learned while I was just kind of developing who Nicolina is. And a lot of my journey was just like covers and how can I make that cover sound like it would come out of my world and it was my story kind of thing. So hearing that, it just makes my heart happy because it means I'm doing my job well.
You're doing it so well. And I also love hearing you say that because that was something that really grabbed my attention about that song was the fact that grief could really be interpreted in many different things. It could be grieving a relationship, parental divorce. It could be about death. It could be about, your
Yeah.
pup who passed away. It's really can go in so many directions. And the fact that you were able to give it that interpretation, I'm so over the moon about it. So thank you for
Oh,
doing it.
thank you. Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Of course. Well, in honor of the lyrics, guess I'm a sucker for the situations in your song, Situations. This is going to be Nicolina is a sucker for. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm so ready. I love this. Let's do it.
The first one is, what are you a sucker for physically? And this could be, let's say we're trying to set you up on a date with your dream person. Physically, what are you a sucker for?
Physically, ooh, I think eyes. Like I love like a good, like beautiful pair of eyes, if that makes sense. It's kind of weird, but like I think like the eyes are the first thing I notice in a person. I think they just kind of like they say they're the window to the soul, which I think is so true. So that's what I'm a sucker for physically.
That is such a good reminder for everyone. Eye contact is so important when you go on dates. I love that
Oh my
too.
God, yeah. Oh my God, 100%.
What are you a sucker for emotionally?
Ooh, emotionally. I feel like this is a tough one because everything I'm gonna say is totally contradictory of myself. So I think I love someone who can be vulnerable. And I say that because I'm not very vulnerable and I'm learning how to do it very slowly in my life. But I think someone that's like in touch with their emotions and is honest about them, I think that's just such a beautiful thing for a person to be able to do. And that's why I'm learning how to do it. I'm trying. I'm trying to be that.
Well, you're so young too, so you have time.
I have time. I have time. I'm good.
You just turned 21, correct?
Yeah, just did in May.
May what? Or like late May?
30th, May
All
30th is my birthday.
right. I love it. Did you
Yeah.
go hard on your 21st?
Honestly, I feel like well, I'm Canadian, so our drinking age is 19. I went harder at 19 than I did at 21. But we had a grand old time with my friends. So still partied hard. It was great.
I love that. What are you a sucker for in music? When you hear someone else's music, I'll tell you mine real quick just because I think this is the part where
Do
I
it.
geek out a lot about is I listen to music very differently. So whenever there is like a whisper or a linger or little whistles in the background, I am a sucker for background sounds in music.
Love
So
that.
curious to know what's yours.
I think I have a couple, honestly. I won't lie to you. In music, I think I love a good, like my favorite kind of music in life, I think is just like, again, very vulnerable and like raw storytelling. So when I'm listening to music, if there is kind of similar to yours, actually, if there's like ambient noise and like certain things that just make the song feel kind of like a dreamscape or kind of like you're inside of the song, I love that. That is my favorite thing. If there's a song with like ambient noise or like certain soundscapey things, I'm on it. Like I love it.
Talk about like hearing a song that makes you want to get lost behind the lyrics, behind just what the bass sound is. So I love that. That's got to be the Gemini
Yeah,
in us.
I think it is. I for sure think it is.
What are you a sucker for in movies?
Ooh, I'm a horror movie girl. I love a scary movie. If I'm shaking and crying and not looking at the screen, the movie's done its job. I think like a good gory horror movie is my favorite thing.
It's so funny you say that because I am the exact same way, but I'm such chicken shit. Like, listen, I will shut the lights off and run very quickly, but I do love a good
Me
scare
too.
in a movie.
Oh, I'm the same way. I'll listen to a true crime podcast to go to bed, but then I'm watching like a random horror movie and I'm crying and I'm like, oh my God, this is horrible. But it's my favorite thing.
That is amazing. I just saw a meme the other day that said something about like the irony behind some people who are like, oh, I just love to be so zen, but what's playing in their ears is like a
Yeah,
crime podcast.
no, exactly. That's me at all hours of the day.
I love that. I know that you have a new song coming out in August, Break My
Yes.
Heart. What can you tell us
You.
about it?
Ooh, I think, well, this song is like super, I think it's one of the more fun ones I wrote. Like this and Situations are probably more my like pop banger things, like more in that vein. But this song is actually, I would say it's like kind of a spin-off on a love song a little bit, which ironically, because the title's Break My Heart. But I basically wrote it about like someone being too good to be true kind of thing. and just like self-sabotage and like, like this is too good. Like this is not gonna last very long. And I know that. So I guess you can look forward to that. If you're a self-sabotage kind of person, you're gonna love this song. This is the song's for you. That's it.
I love that. I know that you recently made a post about being in like your songwriter era. I have to tell you, no one does it this good when they first enter this era, okay? Like you are on track. And so I love that you can differentiate, I'm not very vulnerable in this part of my life, but when it comes to music, I am the most vulnerable. It's
Yeah.
incredible. I love that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes, you're currently working with some amazing female writers and producers as well. Why is collaborating with other women in this industry so important to you?
Oh, I've had these conversations a million times with a bunch of my female collaborators, just collaborators in general in the music industry. I feel like it's such a, like on the behind the scenes end, it's such a male heavy, like led industry, if that makes sense. And when I get into a room and it's an all female team, it's just so empowering. And it's just so cool to see that, like, we can do the thing too. Like, respectfully, we don't need men to like be powerful kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like we have it, we got our backs, and I think it's honestly one of my favorite things just to get into a room where everyone's just like a girl's girl and everyone's just excited to see each other do well. It's one of the best things about being in the industry, honestly.
Well, and my favorite part about that too is that it's also such a good way to break the barrier of this idea that women cannot go a day without being catty with one another. I love that so much because I feel like people usually associate women working together as they're savages, they're catty, they're bitches. But what's
Yeah.
so crazy, and honestly, take it from someone like me who I'm a dude, I'm a male, I can tell you that no one fucking gossips more than men.
I believe it. I believe it.
Like
I believe it. I believe it. Oh my gosh.
so I
Yeah.
love that. I love that you're bringing that level of collaboration to your journey because I do think that we have got to stop these stereotypes of how women interact with one another in the workplace. It's
It's
so
so
not
true.
true. So
Honestly, like to just to break that idea or that mold around it, all the women I've worked with, like I say this with all the love for them because they're amazing. Like they're just amazing people. Like I wouldn't put myself in a room with people that I don't feel uplifted by or that, I don't feel like I could be successful around and feel worried about how others might perceive my success kind of thing. So to be working with the people I'm working with, the people in my camp right now, I'm just so grateful for all of them.
well, and being able to be in a position where you're able to select who you're wanting to collaborate with and trying to have a very, women empowering type of setting. Was there ever a time in your life where you felt like you needed to have girls that had your back, but they just didn't?
Oh, all the time. That's the thing too. You'll find really amazing like female creators, but then you'll also find females in the industry that are trying to tear you down and that are just trying to, in their mind, maybe they're trying to get the one up on you or they're trying to level up beyond what you're doing. And I think, obviously chase your dreams and chase your ambitions and everything, but everyone's here for the same reason. Like we're all here to succeed. We're all here to make music. We're all here to feel good and laugh and cry and feel all the things with each other. So let's just uplift everyone. Like that's where I'm at. And I think that after, meeting a lot of female artists and people in the industry that maybe are not as uplifting or supportive, when I found my group of people that were and that were just like number one fans of me through and through that I worked with was just amazing. It was such a turnaround and it was such an eye opener for me as well to just always be a girl's girl and always like look out for the women around me who are trying to be successful and help them where I can. And I think it's super important for everyone in the industry to hear that and in the world in general.
I love that. And that also comes from a place of like, sometimes in every setting in our life, we always seek what we sometimes didn't really get to see. And I think that it's a really good reminder that it really is up to us how we take those negative interactions and what we do with them. You could either go and become this bitter bitch that doesn't want to work with anyone
Exactly.
else. Or you can be like, you know what? That was done to me. However, I have the power to not let that trickle down to other people I
Oh,
work with. So I
exactly.
appreciate that.
Yeah, no, it's what you got to do. You got to look out for each other out there. It's rough. It's a rough world. So, we got to be with
For,
each other.
for sure. I kind of want to take you back to something real quick. Something that has become like a thing on the pod is I like to catch some of my guests off guard. And of course, one of the biggest premise of the show is also asking you questions you've never been asked before or doing something you haven't done on record yet. Okay.
Love
So
it.
I preface that to say, do you remember in an interview about 2 years ago purring on this interview?
Purring.
Uh-huh.
Purring? Like a cat? Because no, because it makes sense because I have a thing where I'm like, oh, purr, purr. Like I say that. Like that's a thing. So
Let me quote you real quick. Are you ready?
yeah, I'm scared. Do it.
I'm a singer from Toronto. I'm 18 years old, and I like to sing. Purr. That's the vibe.
Of course I said that. I still speak like that to this day, 3 years later. I still do that. Oh, that's crazy.
Well, I have to tell you, I loved it so much. And it's one of these things where I'm like, I love being able to pass on inspiration. I think that that is the most beautiful thing we could all do collectively is inspire one another. So, in honor of that interview, we're going to purr it out. I want to hear your
Oh,
best purr. Are you
I love
ready?
it. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay, wait, this hasn't happened in so long. It's usually okay, pause before we purr. I have to say, this is my swap in for slay. So people are like, oh my God, slay. I'm like, oh, purr. So, okay, I'm ready for this. Go for it.
I
Let's do
love
it.
it. I'll go first, okay?
Go for it.
Purr.
Oh my God. I can't even roll my R's. This is going to be horrible. You already won.
You know
Okay,
what's
pause.
funny? I literally thought about this earlier today. I'm like, I'm gonna have to roll my R for her to bring that Latin heat for her.
As you should. I can't do it. So you got it in that department. But okay, let's see what I can come up with right now. I think it's just gonna be okay. It's gonna be fierce. It's gonna be slay. Okay. Her.
Done.
Ah, there it is. I had to.
I love that.
Oh,
Tell me you've never purred in an interview before.
not like that. It's always been such a like common part of my conversation. I'm like, ooh, purr, ooh, purr. Like that's what it is.
I am so glad to hear you say that because I do remember writing in my notes. She has said it in a conversational context, but she's never stopped to actually purr. So
No,
here we go. This is our chance.
this is it. This was the moment. Oh, I loved it. That was so good. Thank
I
you for
love
that.
that. Of course. So thank you for committing to the purring with me. That's amazing. In the visualizer for Glitter, you had a handheld fan. Were you a fan of this song prior to recording?
Oh my God. I was a fan. I actually really love this song. It was shared with me by, well, I was on American Idol, which is part of the lore way back when. And as part of the show, like once you make top seven on my in my run of the show, we would record songs and stuff. So we'd get to choose either an original or a cover, and we can kind of, reimagine it. And one of the people we worked with on the team had brought me the song, by the original song by Patrick Droney, and was like, "Oh, I think you'd really cover this well." And I was like, "Okay, like that's cool." Like banked it in my brain, left it there. Then we came back a couple weeks later and we're like, oh, we're recording music. Like, do you have an idea of what you want to do? And I had a bunch of originals pitched to me and like certain things that, were very well could have been the song instead of Glitter. But I was just like, nothing's resonating with me. And I went kind of back to that little storage space in my brain. I was like, oh, Glitter, like that's an option. So we kind of got in the studio and like, I don't know, we just made it happen. And that was it. I was a fan of Patrick Droney's version, and then I figured why not bring it out in the world in my own voice, my own artistic way.
I love it. You did it so well, but I have to stop you real quick. Did I see you turning around looking for that fan, that handheld fan I mentioned?
Oh my God. It's literally on my bed. I can't even lie to you right now. It's my best friend. I've had it for look. Oh, I literally
Yes.
my overheat. This is it. No, I really did look for it because I knew it was around. It doesn't go very far from me.
That is the bougiest shit to date on
Yeah.
the pod. I love it.
Oh, I love that. I love that so much.
Have you seen the ones that you can like clip on your belt or something and just fans up your shirt?
Yeah, I've seen those. I've seen the ones you can wear on like your neck and they just fan your face. I also have fans that are like portable chargers and flashlights. Like I'm kind of obsessed with them to be so honest with you. Like that's my strangest addiction is my fans. I have to be so real with you.
I
That's
love that. So if we ever catch you on a My Strange Addiction episode, we know exactly what to expect.
I have like 12 fans in my hand.
I love that. In your song Way Out, you say, make a diamond out of me. If Nicolina were to collab with Tiffany and Co., what kind of diamond would you be?
Oh my God. I don't even know. That's a crazy question. I don't even know. I don't even have an answer for you. I love that. Can I be all of them? Is that like an option?
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Okay, that's my answer. I'm every diamond that Tiffany and Co. could ever possibly produce.
On the fingers, on the
Every
ears, all of it.
all of it. Just shining.
That is so amazing. If you were to pick someone to wear the Nicolina and Tiffany and Co line, who would it be?
Ooh, this is tough because me, obviously. But outside of that, honestly, low key, and this might be a totally out of pocket answer, and everyone might fight me on this, but probably not also. I feel like I'd love to see Chapel Roan in a good diamond moment.
I swear on my life, I was going to say her.
No,
Swear.
Chapel Roan. Like she'd munch that up. I think that would be amazing for her.
Could you imagine just her all diamond out from the Nicolina line? Hell yeah, I love it.
I need that to happen, actually. That's going in my 5-year plan.
I love
That's
that. Well, we're gonna add it to the 2-year plan, okay?
it's
We're
happening.
moving quickly.
We're moving fast.
I love that. I know that you've met some incredible people being on this part of your journey, right? And I know
Yeah.
that you shared the stage with Sarah Bareilles. Have you watched her musical Waitress?
Oh my God, yes. It is my favorite musical in life. And it's actually the first musical I ever seen on Broadway. I in 2019, I had gone to New York and we were like, "Oh, let's go see a show. Let's go see Waitress. Everyone's talking about it." So we went and I just fell in love with the music, with the story. I got to see Shoshana Bean and Jeremy Jordan and their run. So I was in awe. Like I was just over the moon, and I fell in love with the soundtrack of the show. When I came back home, and I'm like, I need to learn all of it. Like I need to learn every single song right now and sing it. So yeah, to answer your question, I'm a huge Waitress fan.
I love that. I was a little late to the party. I think just a year ago, I finally watched it and I could not believe it. I'm like, I have missed out. It is so funny. I was just so in love with it. I'm like, all right.
No, it's amazing. And I think just like how the story is told too, like there's the hilarious moments, there's the moments where you're crying, where you're like immersed in the feelings of the show, and it's amazing.
Any other musicals that you were into?
Well, I had like a huge theater kid era before my TikTok and like American Idol days. So I was into a lot. Like I loved Grease was always one of my favorites. Dear Evan Hansen, I loved. Heathers, I loved. Hades Town. I'm just trying to think. There was quite a handful of them.
Would you ever consider if you were approached tomorrow, hey, we would love to have you be a part of this musical? Would you do it?
Oh, 100%. I think I'd have to bring back my like theater kid era that was like kind of half-assed, but I'd bring it back and I'd probably just like run with that opportunity if I could because I think it'd be crazy and it'd be so much fun.
Absolutely. What about acting? Would you ever consider going down the acting route?
I mean, I don't think I'm a good actor. That being said, in my theater kid era, I had to act, but I don't think I'm a good actor at all. So I definitely try it because I love trying new things, but I don't think it would go very well. And I don't think people would want to see me like in a movie. I don't think that's the vibe, to be
Oh
so
my
honest with
gosh, that's so funny. I always find it so fascinating when people don't give singer-songwriters an opportunity to act because I'm like, doesn't it make sense? They act in music videos.
you.
Their music
Yeah.
is open to interpretation. I always thought, like my entire life, I've always thought it was so funny when people are like, "Oh, they're gonna go and do acting now." I'm like, fucking let them, okay?
It's like, let them
There's
do it. Let them
yeah.
breathe, please.
Oh my gosh. So I'm definitely going to put this out there just to manifest for selfish reasons. If we could ever get you in a horror film, that would be so iconic.
It would be so iconic, but I feel like I'd be the first one dead, just to be so honest. First one dead. I think I'd be too invested in whatever's going on that I would go closer to the issue and get myself killed. It's that simple. I'd love to see it. I think I'd do really well in a horror movie.
That is so amazing. I know that now, just because I'm going off of top of my head now, because we talked about musicals and stuff, like this is so narcissistic of me because I'm about to quote myself. But earlier on, I said, like, you fucked me up, right?
Yeah.
I have to tell you another way you fucked me up. Are you ready?
Let's make the list. Let's do it. Let's make the
Let's
list.
go down the list. Okay, you posted a clip of you singing Pocahontas song. Do you know
Oh my
what I'm talking
God.
about?
Yeah, Colors of the Wind. I know exactly what you're talking
Yes.
about.
Oh my gosh. So that was another reason that I was just like, what the fuck is happening right now? So now, spontaneously, let me ask you some questions. If you could do a live action soundtrack to any Disney
Yeah.
movie, which one would it be?
For selfish reasons, I'm gonna say The Little Mermaid because that is my favorite Disney movie, like through and through. That was like one of the first songs I would walk around the house singing when I was a kid. Part of Your World, like The Little Mermaid. I think I am a mermaid, to be so honest with you, and in like another life. But The Little Mermaid would be the one.
I love that. Well, for any of my previous students, I used to be a choreographer and instructor, and they will all know the reference to this because same, that was my favorite movie. Literally, like I had boxes full of Little Mermaid cups and dolls, and people went a little bit overboard with the Little Mermaid gifts, but Little Mermaid was my favorite growing up.
No,
So,
never enough. Never enough Little Mermaid gifts, I say. Never.
so real quick, when it comes to the Little Mermaid, right?
Yes.
You've been to Disneyland, obviously.
Yes, I have.
What would you say if, for example, today you get a call and they're like, hey, we want you to just go stand in line at the Little Mermaid ride and sing the entire soundtrack to people? Would you do it?
I do it. Oh, 100%. I'm already on a plane. Like I'm already on the way. Like no questions asked. I love that movie.
Did you watch the second one?
I've seen all of them. Whichever ones there was to watch, I had them on like VHS and I would just like watch them on rerun like as a I guess as a kid, like growing up. But yeah.
Well, I guess just because now I feel like it's my duty as someone that's a lot older than you, okay? I'm gonna give you a little homework in case you haven't seen it yet. There is a movie back in the 80s, which I was born in 89, but so this is a little bit before me. It's called Splash, and it's a mermaid movie, and I am obsessed.
Splash movie? Okay. Oh, I know what this is. I fully know what this is. I haven't seen it, but I know what it is. I know exactly what this is. Okay.
Yeah, so add it to your list and or you know what, don't add it to your list next time I'm in Canada or if you're ever out in Texas or LA, hit me
We'll do a
up,
movie
we'll
night.
do movie night. Exactly.
Beautiful. I love it. It's perfect.
I love that. If you could pick a second Disney movie to be a part of, which one would it be? I have one for you, but I don't want to say it yet.
Okay, okay, because I love Disney. Like I'm a Disney girl through and through. Like that's my thing. The Little Mermaid is my first. My second is this is hard because I'm like bouncing like a few of them in my brain. Cause like I love a good Rapunzel moment. I love
That was
Was
my
that it?
next one.
Okay, I was gonna say. Yeah, I love Tangled. Like Tangled, oh my God. I want to be her. Like I know she went through it, but I want to be her. Like I love her. She's so pretty. Rapunzel, oh, whatever, it's fine. But
Oh
yeah,
my
the
gosh.
that one too, it just feels so like earthy, which is like kind of the I guess the vibe because, Rapunzel and the flower and the whole thing. And but yeah, that was probably the other one. Either that or Frozen was my back and forth.
I love that. I feel like we're on the same wavelength because that's the
100%.
one I was like, I don't want to spoil it and say it, but if I could pick one for you, it would
Yeah.
totally be that. I love Mandy Moore in it. And I'm like, if anyone can hit a home run with that soundtrack, it would be you for sure.
You. Thank you. No, I love it. I've actually on my TikTok like years ago, like when I started back in 2020, 4 years. But I covered the Mother Knows Best because everyone was like, "Oh, sing Mother Gothel song." So I like curled my hair and like did the whole bit. It was something.
So there is definitely a future in like musical acting. I can kind of feel it. I can feel it.
Hopefully, maybe one day. I think that would be fun.
Well, listen, it's definitely no secret that I believe so many people are going to be knocking on your doors for the rest of your life. So it'll happen for sure.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Of course. What can we expect for the rest of 2024? I mean, we're already in August. We're about to
Yeah.
start September. What does the rest of the year look like for you?
Lots of new music, I would say. I don't want to spoil much, but there's lots of new music coming. Some shows in Toronto that'll be happening. I think just like more of me in general. Like I'm gonna be I hope to just be on everyone's For You page and really annoying people with my new music. I think that's the goal.
That's such a great goal. What's been your favorite part about writing on this new project?
Ooh, I honestly I think it's just been like seeing the growth of like myself and kind of through these stories that I'm telling. Because when people ask me like, why'd you write this or what's it about? I had stories and I wanted to share them. That was the thing. So this project that like I'm working on, all the music I've been working on, everything is something I've lived. Something I've lived, something I've felt, something I've gone through, and I'm just so excited to just, get it out there. So I think the most exciting part about writing it all too was just seeing like, this happened to me 2, 3 years ago and look where I am now. Like I can comfortably write about it. I can talk about it. It's out in the world. It's just that character arc that I've had for myself has been incredible to kind of look back on and watch.
That's amazing. Who do you go to first to share an idea with? Like, is it one of your sisters or like who do you go and be like, hey, I think I want to write about this or I'm about to share this type of story? Who do
Yeah.
you go to for that first?
So it's my little sister. It's actually funny because they both share the same name, the people I'm about to say. So my little sister Isabella And she's like my ride or die. Like that me and her are like this. Like I'm close with both of my sisters, but me and my little sister share that music similarity. So I'll go to her and I'll be like, I'm gonna write about this, or oh, I came up with this little thing, and like you tell me what you think. And she's so real with me. She'll tell me it's gross, throw it away, or do something with it. It's good. So that's my first person. And then my second person is one of my good friends, Isabella, who I write with often, and like she sings backup for me when I do live shows. We're in tune with each other's musicality. So it's really great too to have another friend who's doing the thing. She's writing, she's singing, she's making music. So it's good to have someone to bounce those ideas off of.
I love that. Totally random just because I'm hearing you talk, and I think it's so amazing that you're sharing this journey with so many people that you love. I didn't know that about one of your backup singers that you do that with. I think that's so beautiful. So I just have to ask a very random question that just came to mind. Do you feel like that chemistry between a lead singer and backup singers is important? Because this is also something I don't even know anything about, so I'm just curious.
Yeah, well, I mean, I like to share this part of my journey too because I think it's important. So, my band is actually made up of like very important people in my life. Some of the people were brought in for the band and then became very important people, but like my band leader, he was my vocal coach from when I was 14. And like I've known him forever, and like we're besties now, and he's amazing. My backup singer is one of my best friends. My boyfriend is my drummer. Like I have the whole squad in there. Like everyone's just like it's such a supportive group of people, and I've formed such like a little family with my, I guess, my band and my work people. And I think it's super important to be able to feel safe with people on stage, be able to just like share that common love for what you're doing. So I really value that.
Absolutely. And I'm totally geeking right now because there was a comment I saw on Instagram, and I'm sure you know which one I'm talking about, but it
I
said,
know which one you're talking about.
read my mind. Tell me, which one do you think I'm going to
It's the
say?
one I can listen. If this is wrong, you have to cut this out. And I love you and don't you can't ignore me like that. But I don't think it's wrong. Okay, so there was a comment on I don't remember if it was TikTok or Instagram, but there was a girl and I was like, I don't know if that's the one. Is that the one? Am
It's
I gonna get
not.
exposed? Okay, then you're cutting that out. Then you're cutting that out.
I got you.
Oh,
I will totally cut it out. Don't worry about
no,
it. But I
it's
was
actually not the one.
totally dying because there was a comment on one of your social medias. Of course, I have to do some research and snoop to prep, right? And I hate myself for not screenshotting it, but you don't say drummer in the song situations,
No, I don't.
but someone was like, I like how she said blah 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 drummer. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about because the person who commented that is a friend of my drummer's. Like, that's one of his buddies. And I'll tell you right now because I've never spoken about this. So, the song Situations was written when I was in a situationship with my boyfriend. So, like, and
Stop.
the boyfriend happens to be my drummer. So when I wrote that line, the whole world thought I said I fall in love with the drummer. I'll tell you right now, that's not the lyric. But the whole world thought that. And it's become the biggest inside joke in like my circle. So the fact that you even caught that comment, I think that's hilarious. And I'm gonna have to send it to everyone that I know now.
I love that. No, it definitely stood out to me and I was fucking dying, but I was just like,
So
oh, I'll just leave it alone. But then now that you're like, oh, I'm dating the drummer, I was like, wait a minute, that is so
yeah, there's
fucking funny.
lore, there's backstories. Oh, it's so good. Yeah, everyone thought like genuinely they thought that was the lyric. So like even when I was performing that song before I had like produced it out, it was just an unreleased song and I was testing it out with audiences. All my friends came up to me and they're like, "Why is that the lyric? Why are you saying I fall in love with the drummer?" I'm like, "Guys, I'm not. Like, I promise that's not the lyric. You guys need to check your phones when I send you things because that's not the lyric." But yeah, that's the story.
That totally just made my day. I'm like, I love full circle moments like that for sure.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
I love that. Well, I can't wait to hear everything that you're going to be doing for the rest of the year. I know there are so many people that are just so excited about more projects from you and to hear more from you. So, lastly, for anyone that is listening and not watching the video, please tell everyone where to find you, where to find this girl who's taken by a hot drummer. By the way, no one slide into her DMs.
I love it. Don't do it. Yeah, no, no, no. I love this. This is so good. But yes, I'm Nicolina. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Nicolina Balzo. If you want to find my music, it's just first name, nice big and bold, Nicolina. And I'm kind of all over Google if you search me. So you'll find me. I'm there.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for giving me your time. I've had such a blast. I'm definitely not going to cut this part out, but what I am going to do is I am going to cut that part out and I'm going to blur it so that people can go crazy trying to find the mystery of what it was we said. And then one day in the future, we'll bring it up again.
Leak it. I'll leak it. It's fine.
You have been so, so much fun. Thank you so much for your time. I know it's the most valuable thing we have, and I am just so grateful that you did this with me. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. This was lovely. I had a blast. This was amazing.
I can't
Thank you.
wait to stay in touch and to hear more about you. So take care of yourself, and
All
we'll
right.
definitely be in touch.
Sounds good. You too. Thank you so much.
Of course, take care.
Bye.
Bye. Hey, if you've made it this far, don't forget to follow the socials on the screen or in the description below. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel. See you next week.